Numbers 33 stages in Israel's journey here are the stages in the journey of the Israelites when they came out of Egypt by divisions under the leadership of Moses and Aaron. At the Lord's command, Moses recorded the stages in their journey. This is their journey by stages. The Israelites set out from Rameses on the 15th day of the first month. The day after the Passover, they marched out defiantly in full view of all the Egyptians, who were burying all their firstborn, whom the Lord had struck down among them, for the Lord had brought judgment on their gods. The Israelites left Rameses and camped at Succoth, then camped at Etham, on the edge of the desert. Etham turned back to Pi-Hahiroth to the east of Baal-Zephon, and camped near Migdal. Pi-Hahiroth and passed through the sea into the desert. And when they had traveled for 3 days in the desert of Etham, they camped at Marah, where bitter water was made sweet. Then Elim, where there were 12 springs and 70 palm trees, and they camped by the Red Sea. Then the desert of Sin, where God provided manna and quails. The desert of Sin encamped at Dakathan, a lush Rephidim, where there was no water for the people to drink, and Moses struck a rock. Rephidim encamped in the desert of Sinai, where they camped for a long time. From Sinai they went to Kibroth Hattaavah, graves of Craving, Hazeroth, Miriam's leprosy, Rithma, Rimmon Perez, Libnah, Rissa, Kaphalatha, Mount Sheper, Harada, Makaloth, Tahath, Terah, Mithka, Hashmona, Moseroth, Ben-Jakan, Por-Hagidgad, Jotbatha, Abrona, Ezine-Geber, and Kadesh. Where the spies failed in the desert of Zin, from Kadesh they camped at Mount Hor, on the border of Edom. At the Lord's command, Aaron, the priest, went up Mount Hor, where he died on the first day of the 5th month of the 40th year after the Israelites came out of Egypt. Aaron was 123 years old when he died on Mount Hor. The Canaanite king of Arad, who lived in the Negev of Canaan, heard that the Israelites were coming. They left Mount Hor and camped at Zalmonah, Punon, Oboth, i.e. Abarim, on the border of Moab, then Dibon, Gad, Almon Diblathaim. Then they camped in the mountains of Abarim near Nebo, and on the plains of Moab by the Jordan across from Jericho. There on the plains of Moab they camped along the Jordan from Beth-Jeshimoth to Abel-Shittim. On the plains of Moab by the Jordan across from Jericho, the Lord said to Moses, "Speak to the Israelites and say to them, when you cross the Jordan into Canaan, drive out all the inhabitants of the land before you. Destroy all their carved images and their cast idols, and demolish all their high places. Take possession of the land and settle in it, for I have given you the land to possess. Distribute the land by lot, according to your clans. To a larger group give a larger inheritance, and to a smaller group a smaller one. Whatever falls to them by lot will be theirs. Distribute it according to your ancestral tribes. But if you do not drive out the inhabitants of the land, those you allow to remain will become barbs in your eyes and thorns in your sides. They will give you trouble in the land where you will live, and then I will do to you what I plan to do to them." Lessons and teachings. 1. God faithfully records every stage of the journey. Moses recorded the stages of their journey. 33:2. God did not forget any stage done by, not the bitter waters, not the graves of craving, not the triumphs. He remembers our journey. For us, look back on your life. See God's hand in every stage, by the hard places and the sweet. 2. Obedience brings progress, disobedience brings wandering. They set out, they camped, they set out, repeated. The journey was not random. When they obeyed, they moved toward the promise. When they rebelled, they wandered. For us, disobedience delays God's purposes. Obedience moves you forward. 3. God's faithfulness overcomes our failures. They camped at Kadesh, where the spies rebelled, yet God did not abandon them. Even after the failure at Kadesh, God continued to lead them. He did not leave them in the wilderness forever. For us, your failures do not disqualify you from God's faithfulness. He will still lead you if you turn back to Him. 4. The command to drive out the inhabitants is a call to holy war. Drive out all the inhabitants. 30:52. The land was promised, but Israel had to fight for it. God commanded the total removal of idolatry. For us, we must actively remove sin from our lives of Teen Sui, not negotiate with it. 5 idols must be destroyed, not accommodated. Destroy their idols, demolish their high places. 33:52. There could be no compromise. Israel was not to keep the idols as cultural artifacts or art. For us, do not keep respectable sins. Tear down the high places of pride, lust, greed. 6. Compromise becomes a thorn. They will become barbs in your eyes and thorns in your sides. 33:55. If they allowed the inhabitants to stay, those survivors would torment them. This is exactly what happened in Judges. For us, unconfessed sin, small compromises, and tolerated impurities will eventually become painful thorns. Drive them out while you can.
Let's continue studying the book of Numbers. We are almost finishing. Stay tuned. Subscribe, like, comment, and hit notification button for more videos, more Bible study, and more Bible knowledge. We got you.